Every time this asteroid completes an orbit, its speed increases, and astronomers aren't sure why. I'm Eric Malachite, and today we're talking about the only named asteroid with an orbit less than half of Mercury's, and how you can see the Geminid Meteor shower, which its dust tail is directly responsible for. 3200 Phaethon is a 5.4 kilometer wide asteroid whose orbit takes it as close as 20.9 kilometers from the Sun, which is scorchingly close. Did I just make up a new word? Now, Phaethon is considered to be potentially hazardous because the closest it has ever come to the Earth was 10.3 million kilometers during its 524-day orbit. That was back in 2017, and while this is close in astronomical terms, evidenced by the fact that 20 million kilometers is close to the Sun, the Earth is not in any immediate danger. So, chill out with those "the sky is falling" comments that I know you're just itching to write. Or don't, I'm not your dad. Or am I? This asteroid's dust tail actually causes an astronomical event here on Earth that you can check out this December. See how I worked in amateur astronomy in this video? Smooth, right? It's called the Geminid Meteor shower, and you can get a good look at the event around November 19th through December 16th, but its peak will be on December 14th. The only problem is that on that day, you'll probably want to get your observations in early in the evening before the moon rises to pollute the night sky with all of that reflected sunlight. But fortunately for you, these Geminid meteors tend to be fairly bright, so you might still be able to see some of them on both December 13th and 14th. If you're in the northern hemisphere, you're going to have an especially good seat to this celestial show, especially if you manage to find a good dark sky locale with no moonlight. On such nights, you'll be able to see roughly 120 Geminid meteors per hour. But new observations have revealed that this asteroid's rotation is actually speeding up. Let's talk about it. On October 7th of this year, a presentation at the American Society's Division for Planetary Sciences Conference, which is totally not a mouthful, disclosed new data on the asteroid's spin, which seems to be increasing in speed with each passing orbit, and this annual change could have an effect on the asteroid's orbit. This is a GIF of Phaethon's elliptical orbit. Each complete rotation takes around 3.6 hours, but each year that shrinks by 4 milliseconds. Now, that's not enough to be concerning. After all, any change in the asteroid's orbit could take thousands, if not millions of years. So no, Earth is not in any immediate danger of being put into the asteroid's crosshairs. Some science getters may be familiar with the Yarkovsky effect. In the most simple terms, this effect results from an asteroid receiving more heating on one side than another, and this generates a small amount of thrust that can change its orbit over time. The Yarkovsky effect has also been suggested as a possible tool for deflecting hazardous asteroids from the Earth, something that DART may have inadvertently caused when it turned Dimorphos into the first ever man-made comet. Could the Yarkovsky effect explain this increase in rotational velocity? Well, actually. Phaethon is a large asteroid, and like many large asteroids, it's shaped like a spinning top, or an egg. Another asteroid, 162173 Ryugu, features a similar shape, and also, JAXA made history by landing a spacecraft on it, which is extremely badass. Phaethon's rotation is perplexing though, because as the lead researcher Sean Marshall stated, the predictions from the shape model did not match the data. The times when the model was brightest were clearly out of sync with the times when Phaethon was actually observed to be brightest. The only real explanation for this incongruity was that the asteroid's rotation was speeding up. Phaethon has one of the most well-studied asteroid orbits in the solar system. It was discovered in 1983, and astronomers have tuned both optical and radio observatories in its direction, producing a treasure trove of data, especially on its light curves. This asteroid is unusual for a variety of reasons, including its strange blue hue, its comet-like tail, which, as mentioned earlier, causes the Geminid meteor shower every year, a feat which is only shared by one other asteroid, as most other meteor showers are actually caused by comets. But what is causing this increase in rotational velocity? Phaethon's mass is gradually being eroded away, and the Yarkovsky effect could absolutely be an explanation for this, especially when you consider how close this thing gets to the Sun. But there's a big old caveat there, as the current data that Sean Marshall and his team use for their simulations isn't enough to prove or rule it out as a cause. But fear not, because the Japanese space pioneers at JAXA have set their targets on Phaethon with their Destiny Plus mission, which is totally not a new streaming service that will launch in 2024 and zip past the asteroid in 2028. Or is it? JAXA, if you need a marketing person, I'm your guy. That's all I've got for you this time. Be sure to do all that algorithmic jazz, tune in for the podcast every Friday, and join in on the conversation on our Discord. And definitely don't miss out on the Geminid Meteor Shower. Who knows, if you're local to the Richmond, VA area, we might just run into each other. And hey, look at all those wonderful names. Thank you, patrons. If you want your name in the credits and want to get the Science Get podcast up to 2 weeks early, be sure to sign up to our Patreon, starting at just $2 a month. I'm Eric Malachite, and I'll see you next time, Space Cowboys.